Good morning, my angels. Welcome back. It's Thursday, January 21st. So let's get started. All right, so I've already published your folders. Today we're going to be discussing European economy inequalities. Yes, we are still on the unit of European Union because the European Union has a major impact in Europe. So we talked about how the union has helped numerous countries, now 27 where there was once 28, has helped all these countries come together to help each other economically. But then you have other countries that are not part of the union that has been affected because they're not part of the union. Part of it might be they are on the wait list to be part of the union, or two, they have been denied to be part of the union, or three, they just don't want to be part of the union. We know that there's various countries that aren't part of the union because for the most part, parts of Europe, you have areas that are still going through religious wars. Maybe they don't want to be part of other countries that are going to be looking into their business of what the wars, and knowing that being part of the union, you have to avoid wars altogether. You have to be able to work with one another because you're helping each other economically. But more importantly, you are focused on those human rights, the protection of human rights, because of what happened with the Holocaust. We don't want that to happen again. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about those European economy inequalities based on the countries that are doing very well and then the countries that are not doing as well. You're going to watch this European economic factors video, as always, just to gain some understanding of what is happening in Europe. And then we're going to go through this PowerPoint together. So we're going to go just as a quick review, knowing the three questions: what goods will be produced, how will these goods be produced, and to whom will these goods be produced for? So those are the three major economic questions that are constantly being asked anytime someone's starting a business. We know that a traditional economy is an economy that is based on customs and traditions, the beliefs of the past. Typically, these people aren't set to make money. That's not their goal, is to be profitable. Their goal is to survive day to day. They're fine with that. They're okay with it. They're not missing anything because they don't know what's out there, because they've never had it and it's never been an important issue for them. More than anything, they trade with each other without using money, and we call that bartering. You'll see some of these examples in villages such as Africa and South America, the Inuit in Canada, and the Aborigines in Australia. We've talked about this so many times. But again, this is just a reminder. Then you have a command economy. All economic decisions are made by the government. The government owns most of the property. It sets the prices. It tells you what you're going to sell, how you're going to sell it, to whom you're going to sell it to. And the wages of workers are determined by the government. The system has not been very successful, and more countries are abandoning this. Now, you do have, you can consider North Korea as a command economy. Then you have a market economy. Economic decisions are made based on the changes in prices that occur as buyers and sellers interact in the marketplace. We call this free enterprise, right? We've talked about supply and demand. If people want it, if it's there, people buy it, the demand is high, what's going to happen to those prices? If the demand is high, that price is going to go up. If the demand is low, that price is going to go down. So think about that. This is a free market economy. We've also talked about how the government would not be involved at all in a mixed economy or a market economy, but we do have a little bit of market government interference, and that is a good thing. We want them to be able to make sure that the medication that is being sold is in fact the medication they say it is, right? So the FDA, Food Drug Administration, gets involved. We've talked about how the foods that are being sold, we want to make sure that the foods are healthy foods, right? The foods are the meat isn't spoiled, and so you always want to take all that into consideration when the government is involved. It's involved for the protection of people. Also, if there's a product, maybe a product such as like a toy, is the toy dangerous? Can a child choke on this on any of the items or the pieces of that toy? So they do have to have some involvement, not much, but they have some involvement. Okay, so since there are no countries that are purely command or purely market, we call this a mixed economy. So most countries are market mix. You can say market mix. The United Kingdom is a mixed economic system. It actually is closer to a market economy than any European country. And we know that the United Kingdom is economically strong. And then now that they left Brexit, right now they're doing well, but let's see what happens, right? We're going to keep monitoring that. They do have some economic struggles, such as unemployment, over depletion of natural resources, pollution, improving public services. They are working on that, but they're raising those taxes. Then we have Germany. Germany has a mixed economic system. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the reunification in 1990. So we'll talk a little bit about the collapse of that Berlin Wall, East Germany versus West Germany, what happened and how is it and why is it that Germany is still struggling. West Germany's market system experienced a huge setback when it absorbed East Germany's command system. So we'll talk about that because that is a lot of information that you definitely need to know. It's informative, but it's history. So let's talk a little bit about that today. And they do have some economic struggles. Again, they're talking about the money that or the deficit, the debt that they picked up when the Berlin Wall came down, and having to put that burden on West Germany. So we'll talk about that. The unemployment, of course, pollution, especially in East Germany. And then we'll talk about the economic inequality. So what is income inequality? Well, it's not even, right? It's not equal. What is a wage gap? What is the gender wage gap? So we'll talk about what those are, right? Why is it that it seems like boys or men get paid more than women? Is that true? For the most part, in a lot of countries, it is. And we'll talk about that. I want you to watch this video. This is an inequality video, and this is talking about how the differences between the gender gap and the wage gap. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to answer these, okay? You're not going to answer them on a piece of paper or on a computer. You're just going to answer them and analyze these. Which countries have the highest GDP per capita? Which country has the lowest GDP per capita? If the EU aims to promote economic growth in all member countries, what could be the possible reasons for such large inequalities? Think about that. So we know whenever you look at a map, what is the first thing you should look at? The title. The next thing you should look at is the keys. Look at the keys. Try to figure out, what is this map trying to give you? What information does it have for you? You're going to compare the data. Again, you're going to read the title and then you're going to read the top line. Right? Now, for your assignment for today, you're going to use the PowerPoint, and of course, you're going to use those graphs. I have given you three attempts, as always, 3 attempts, because I know you can do it. So you're going to answer the questions. You have 10 questions. Some are drag and drop, some are true and false, others are multiple choice. All right, I made this super easy for you. And again, most of this information you already know because we've been going through it we went through September, October, November, December. Now we're talking about it again. So this is it's a review again. And then you're talking about what you learned today of Europe's inequalities. All right, my angels, I will see you in a bit.